see if this works. I have this hanging right in front of my thing, so might have to take that down. I just want to grab a carrot. I love raw carrots. Do you? Okay. Take that. And let's I'm just so uncomfortable today. Sun is really bothering me. And I feel itchy. Like, not really itchy. Aggravated. Aggravation comes from, I'm not wearing any eye makeup. Some of it comes from the lip, some of it comes from my shoulder, and some of it comes from the floaters. Oh, I just spit carrot. The floaters in my eye. There's fuzz everywhere. I know why there's fuzz. A friend of mine gave me a really pretty gift. This Afghan that's so soft. Not Afghan. Poncho, and it's really soft. And it sheds. And I wore it yesterday. It's like a pashmina. And I got rear-ended yesterday. I was sitting at a red light for a while, so it wasn't like I moved and then, and I was like a few cars in. So, you know, it wasn't like I was merging into traffic, and so, you know, the person behind you kind of looks and thinks that you can go and then rams into you. I had been sitting there, and all of a sudden I felt bang. So the light eventually turned green. We pulled over in a parking lot. He was like, "I'm really sorry. My foot slipped off the brake," which the shoes I'm wearing right now, I feel like my foot could slip off. The brake is like that big. Remember when they were like that big? So there was no damage. So I said to him, I'm not going to be one of those people that exchanges information with no damage or a scratch on a 2015 car. who have I been watching on YouTube? Okay. Trisha Paytas. I do tune in. I'm sorry if I'm licking my lips because it's just this lip ring. I know it's like probably distracting. I do have to put these on. So Trisha Paytas. I tune in here and there, but the last video of her, I couldn't listen to the incessant yapping. And I wondered, do I do that? But the answer is no, because I take a breath. And she was just talking about, like, how many weeks pregnant is she? And when, you know, like, so I'm sort of 7, but I'm sort of 8, and I don't know how I couldn't even, honestly, I couldn't pay attention. I tuned out. First of all, the way that the doctors calculate pregnancy is from the day of your last period, okay? So that it can be consistent. Because it's not an exact science. You're not going to have the baby, I don't know, you know, to the exact day, 9 full months. So they give you a guesstimate. That's how that works. Then the other thing, okay, and I just want to say this is, but when I get to a light, I want to plug in my phone so I don't lose battery. So the whole big controversial thing about when to tell people if you're pregnant. So if you, well, on YouTube and then in real life, right? So here's the thing. The reason that most people, 99% of them, do not tell people until after the first trimester is because obviously that's when most people would miscarry. But if you're gonna end up telling people that you had a miscarriage, then you might as well tell when you first get pregnant. Because if you're gonna tell anyways that you had a miscarriage, then why not celebrate when you first get pregnant and then tell what happened, you know? Like she was talking about that, and you have to think of the reasons why. Plus, some of the stuff she says is just so fucking stupid. I really like this, other than that. I really like this lip mask. I think it's a Korean brand. I Do Care Plush Party Buttery Vitamin C Lip Mask. It looks like that. Comes with a little spatula, but I'm just going to use my nail here and put it on and then mush my lips together. It doesn't really have a scent or a taste. It has no taste, but I do like the consistency. I don't know. Do we want to hear about Trisha Paytas? Do you guys want me to talk about my thoughts? Basically, my thoughts on announcing your pregnancy on social media. Just do it when you want to do it. Like, if you want to start celebrating, why not celebrate? You don't... I told people right away. I was working at Accenture, and I told people right away because I knew I would tell them if I had a miscarriage. And I'm happy that I did. Didn't have a miscarriage. I don't know, she and Moses were driving and she was saying the stupidest things. Like, first of all, I can't stand when she says the word baby. Just how she looks and the way she says baby. Then She doesn't understand how you're going to take the baby out when it's like just a few days old and put it in a high chair. Oh my God. Really? She was saying, and I don't think I'll let anybody else hold it. And Moses was like, well, you have to, because otherwise the baby will always cry and it won't ever want to leave you, which is not true. In fact, at the beginning, you should always hold your baby, go to your baby when it cries. You're not spoiling an infant in any way, but she is going to hand that baby off to him because she's not going to know how to do things. Plus, this is what I really was thinking of, is that, girl, 2 or 3 days after you give birth, or a week or 2 weeks, you are not going to feel like going out for dinner. Like, I mean, I took Burke out everywhere. We took Burke out to restaurants. Took him to the Ritz. He was an infant. I was a very, very comfortable first-time mother. Because I feel like because I was older and because I had I had found out the sex. And we named him. I was able, and I told everyone his name, and on my desk I had his ultrasound, which he was like a perfect human being, which I still have, and I wrote his whole name. I feel, a lot of people don't want to know what the sex is, but it really does help you to bond to the baby. And actually, you know what? I'm going to entitle this My Birth Story. Why shouldn't I tell my birth story the way everyone else tells their birth story? Let's go back in time. So, it was a Wednesday night. I woke up at it was actually Thursday morning. So I woke up at 5 in the morning and had to go to the bathroom. And I went to pee, and something led me to know it was a week early than he was due. He was supposed to be born on July 31st. He was born on the 23rd. And I had gone to the doctor that day, and I feel like the midwife had stripped my membranes or something, because she knew my in-laws were in from out of town, from out of the country, actually. So I feel like she wanted the baby to come, but he was not ready. So this is what happened. So I went to the bathroom, and when I went to wipe myself, I could tell it was not normal. And I looked in the toilet, and it was cloudy, murky, and I knew, because I had read baby books and done research, and I'm a smart person, I knew it was meconium. So I got back into bed, and Gungur had been lying on his stomach, and I said, Gungur, my water broke. And he literally jumped up. He was like, what? And I was like, it's okay, but my water broke. So he kind of went back to sleep, and I called the number that I was supposed to call if that happened on the back of my card, and they were like, okay, are you having any contractions? I was like, no. So they said, okay, well then, just rest and monitor it, and if you start to have contractions, call us back, and this and that. And I think a few hours went by. No, I never ever had my own contractions. But I guess and then the water stopped, it didn't just flow. And so I guess I was concerned about that. And I also had the meconium, and I know I told them that. So then they said, well, it's possible that the baby's head plugged up the water again. So why don't you just come in? So we went in, and of course Gungur wanted to like park not in the parking structure because it would have cost money, and I made him. And as I was like registering, the water started to drip down my leg. The whole water part, I remember it was really gross to feel wetness constantly for hours between your legs. It was just, it wasn't like the water came out and then that was it. It was like a slow dribble. So they put you like, you know, when they admit you, they put you on like one of those wee-wee pads, and I don't think you're wearing underwear. Yeah, you're not. So I wasn't wearing underwear. So it was just very, I remember that part being really uncomfortable. And then eventually they gave me Pitocin, and after 42 hours, I didn't progress past 7 centimeters. And I did have an epidural at 3 centimeters because I was in so much pain. I was at the point, because Pitocin is like the drug from the devil. So, because, you know, when your body naturally has contractions, I feel like, not that I've ever had natural contractions, but I feel like it knows to give you a break, whereas Pitocin is like a drip that just, you don't get a break in between the contraction. So I was at 3 centimeters. I was at the point that I couldn't talk during the contraction. The other thing was, like, so they told Gungur, you know, like, count her down as it starts to go down. But he was counting me down too soon, so I guess I yelled at him and said, no, don't, you know, when I could speak. I was like, you're doing it wrong. Like, don't count me down until it's time. I was getting at the peak of my contraction. He was going, okay, it's almost over. And I think he said something like, she's yelling at me. Such a bad coach. And then all of a sudden they said the baby's heartbeat is doing something weird. So before I knew it, like, there were so many people in that room. They were like, drink this. I was like, what is it? Just drink it. I don't know what it was. My doctor, my OBGYN happened to also be on call that night. So she delivered the baby, my baby, Burke. And raced me into the operating room. They had Gungur change into like scrubs over his clothes, but for some reason they never called him in. So I was there. And I remember they had my arms out to the either side. And I was shaking. My mouth, I was like really shaking because of, I think it was the Pitocin or the epidural. And I had this clenched jaw. So that was my biggest worry also. Because I was like, my arms are, I kept saying to the anesthesiologist over my head, my arms are falling off the table. And he was like, no, they're not. But I felt like they were. And they had also given me some drugs to help with the pain. So I was so out of it. I remember looking up at the light and thinking, thank God there's no reflection. so I can't see what's going on. Then I remember them must have been poking me with something, and I was like, I can't feel that. And then they said, okay, you're going to feel pressure. And it felt like, I remember thinking, oh, they put the probe in to see where the baby is, because I was out of it. Then this crying that sounded, and then I heard them laugh. Then they brought Gungur in. Then I heard them laugh, and I thought they were laughing because Burke was crying so weird. And they had finally brought Gungur in after he was born, the baby was born. And I remember Gungur brought him over to me, and I said, I kept saying, I can't see him, because he was holding him like this instead of like. Then they said, okay, you're going to feel like you're falling over, but you're not going to. I remember seeing all this bloody towels and stuff. I don't even know if that's real or in my head, whatever. Pretty sure it was. And then when they got me into recovery, they had to lower the head of the bed because I guess my blood pressure was dropping, but I felt fine. And then they brought him over. First they tried to give him to the people, the Indian couple that was in the, how did I know that they were Indian though? That they were in the next like recovery room, recovery stall. Oh, it was 2:43 a.m. Friday morning, yeah. They brought Burke. I was the third person to hold him. Gungur was the first, then he handed him to my mother. And Burke wouldn't stop crying. She was like, why is he crying? And then she gave him back to Gungur, and when he showed him to me, I said, that's not the same baby. I said it like I knew what the fuck I was talking about. I said, that's not the same baby. He was like, yes it is. Why are you saying that? Couldn't anyone give me a fucking break? What's some medication, drugs? Jesus. I'm so out of it. Nobody patted my head. Nobody reassured me. And then I had to stay in the hospital for a total of 5 days because we had gone in Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. Yeah, I left on Monday. I think we went in at like 6 a.m. on Wednesday. Was it Thursday morning? So was it 42 hours? I don't remember. It was like a lot of hours. Anyways. And then my girlfriend Rachel came that day to see me. She was like, are you in love with him yet? And I was like, I mean, he's okay. But then the next day, when they had taken, I never let him leave my room. You know, I never put him in the nursery. I just kept him next to me. So the next day, they had to take him out to do the heel prick and whatever tests they do on babies. And when they brought him back, they had forgotten to put his little hat on, I guess. So I woke up in the middle of the night to him crying. And that was the moment that I bonded with him. I remember, you know, it was hard to get out of bed and stuff because of the C-section. But I remember, like, waking up and going and getting my baby because he was so cold. And I did breastfeed for 6 months. And that's my birth story. Sort of remember it like it was yesterday, right? I had 2 things, I wouldn't say wrong during the pregnancy. I had a really healthy pregnancy. I only gained like 20 pounds maximum. In fact, and I didn't even look pregnant until like my 6th month. And that was really only because I wore maternity clothes. Like a maternity dress. So, in the beginning, I had round ligament pain. And then, in the end, I had like a separated pubic bone, and his head was right on top, so I couldn't walk. That was the beginning of my inability to walk. I remember I'd go into my grandmother's pool, and that would take all the pressure off. But I also felt weird going in the pool being pregnant because I felt like he was like underwater. Does that sound crazy, or does it make sense to you? I was 36 when I gave birth. I turned 36 in April. He was born in July, so. And that was the day Burke was born. He has never really, I think girls are different. He's never really even asked his birth story. He weighed 7 pounds, 13 ounces, 7 pounds, 12 ounces, right? He was 19 and a half inches long,